And this is very important in reference to history and the abuses of these government people. I represent who my parents are, and I'm the child of my mother and father. And in reference to property and land and businesses and companies, of course, my looks and my identity is very important in reference to the history of my family and the family that I come from, in reference to my mother and father and grandparents and family history. And ethnicity and race and religion, of course, is very important in reference to history and quality of life. And these bad government people are violating the history of my religion. They're violating the history of my parents. They're violating the ownership of which I am the owner of my mother and father's estates and companies and locations. So if you looked at how many locations that I'm a representative of and what I'm the owner of in reference to my mother and father and company and family history and the beauty of my parents and grandparents and family history, of course, and religion history. Who are these people to think that they had any right damaging my looks or my face? What do they represent? What do these people represent? And every accusation of these people accusing me of anything always has to be analyzed to see where these people are making up this stuff. Like when they try to make up political shit. You have to check to see if any of those politicians ever raped me. You have to see if any of those government men ever raped me. You have to see if they ever tried to rape my mother. Or if they ever tried to rape my father, any of these government politicians or their families. Or you have to check to see if they trespassed on my father and mother's property back in the 40s or 50s or 60s or whenever. Or 70s, 80s, 90s, and the years of 2000. You have to make sure that, the records department always has to keep records of all these people that are on the hate club list. A lot of these satellite controllers, their names are on the hate club list. A lot of these political families, before some of them got into higher levels of government, some of them had criminal records. But back to the point of the history of property and land and numbers of land in reference to being presentable, smiling, waving at friends, or, being friendly in acknowledgments of things. How many properties do these people represent? How many millions of properties did my mother and father and grandparents and family history, how many properties did they build in America? How many properties did the CIA or FBI or NSA or political people, how many properties did they build with their own money or revenues? It's very important, isn't it? What class did they come from? What's their education history? What schools did they go to in America? It's very important to know what schools they went to in America, because in reference to political parties and factual education history, it's very important. Because nobody could be the president or governors or mayors or heads of offices of the country if they did not attend certain schools or certain levels of school. You understand that? Same thing with police chiefs. I'm not sure. Do police chiefs have to have college education? Somebody look up that information. But, in reference to the brutality and the crimes of these satellite controllers and the abuses, what do they represent? They represent what? Abusing people? Accusating against people? Look how many billions of dollars these people have tried to steal from my mother and father's estates. These people are holding me hostage, terrorizing my life, trying to call me their slave. Slavery was abolished in America. If politicians are using the terms slavery, they can get impeached. If they're trying to call the people of America their slaves. Or anybody, these government people, they know that slavery was abolished, and it's even documented in government documentation. They're trying to play hiccups. They're still hitting me in the face. They're still burning my jaw. They're hitting my front lips, burning my jaw, and my arm still hurts. Hasn't changed. Still can't lift very much with my left arm or shoulder. And the satellite man has still been hitting me in the face and teeth. And these government people and their accusations, it always has to be analyzed where they came up with these lies. And they have to do a background check to find out if they're tied in with any of these political families that my parents had problems with. See, the Treasury knows where all my mother and father's money came from. Businesses, investments, they know all that. And they know all the information about the Royal Protocol, too, pretty much. Birthmarks, beauty marks, teeth, dental records. They know how big my teeth are supposed to be. They know how big my lips are supposed to be. And everything else is documented, too. So in reference to these government people and their crimes and manipulations, what are they claiming they represent in this country? They're trying to steal what I'm the owner of? That's criminal. My parents' estates are royal estates. They're not owned by the government. They're not owned by people that want to expand their lives. All the property and land is protected by certain laws. So in reference to these thieves in government and these manipulators and these liars and their con artist game and their falsifying of, they claim they met with your mother and they thought your mother would give them everything. No, I've been the owner of the estates when both my parents was alive. They gave me everything when I was younger, when I was little. So, and I was over 18, but before my mother died. But, I was over, basically, I guess you could say, as in reference to my father, in reference to family history, because, I was injured and I was in a coma. So basically, in reference to when my father passed, well, he got murdered, but, then he was frozen. In certain acknowledgments, even though I was in a coma from injuries of government trying to steal, they trespassed on my father's land. Then they tried to turn it around and claim that, these people they try to play reverse psychology on everything. They instigate the problem, then they pretend like, what, when they're the ones that are trying to steal from a family of people that are wealthier than theirs. And politicians always tried to call my father to get money from my father. A lot of them did. They tried to get loans from my father. Look up that information. And some people even tried to call my mother to get loans from my mother. It's what these government people tried to do. I haven't received any lawsuit monies or any monies that anybody's tried to send, not even from the Treasury or Supreme Court if they tried to send anything, or from any of the embassies. Or if any of the friendly countries that know me, if they tried to send anything, I didn't receive anything. They're even blocking me from revenues and residuals from TV shows when I was little. Haven't received nothing. But, in reference to these government people and their tricks, ask them what they represent. What property and land do they represent? My parents owned what they owned legally. They didn't own too much. They owned what they owned. They didn't go over the limit with owning too much. No, they didn't. And this country has laws that protects the facts of what my parents owned and the fact that I'm the owner. And then these people thought they'd try to terrorize my life to try to make me look stupid with their physical assault. And these government men trying to rape me and trying to steal my identity. And then other government people covering up the sexual assault and the abuses, and these people trying to steal sperm and genetics. Are these people trying to steal hermaphrodite eggs, or these people trying to steal genetics from my anatomy? Those people have to get prosecuted. And these people playing games trying to say they thought somebody owed them something because they've been spending their time trying to steal from me. You don't get paid your hourly for trying to steal from me, man. You get prosecuted and you can do time in prison. You can try to calculate how much money you would have made if you wouldn't have got prosecuted, is what somebody might say, but that's in the future, I guess, because you haven't been locked up yet for your crimes in America. And every accusation, like they'll try to say, oh, they thought you threatened the president. Never even talked to him. Not friends with him either. I own what I'm the owner of. You know, it's kind of like if you look at the information of what my parents owned, it's not what you'd say like owning an island, but I own the land and property of my mother and father and grandparents. You know what I mean? And then the government manages government property. But I'm the owner of what my parents owned and my grandparents. You understand? Like, they'll try to say, oh, they thought you threatened the president. Never even talked to him. Me and my friends never talked about him either. When I was hanging out with my friends in Hollywood, we didn't talk about the fucking president. Talked about movies and TV and music and Hollywood. Entertainment. Sports, dance, you know, different things. So in reference to these government people, they were targeting me for a long time, even after they murdered my father. The government has never paid up, and the government had to admit fault that they were at fault when they murdered my father. Need those documents of where the government and the Supreme Court, or the Supreme Court, did not protect my parents from politicians that had been breaking the law in their efforts of trying to steal from my parents, these government people. Supreme Court needs to make a statement. These people was trespassing on my mother and father's property. They hit me in the teeth just now right there. And these people have tried to make up lies and excuses for their activities. And all their activities is criminal. They trespassed and they kidnapped me from my mother and father's mansions. And they've been blocking me ever since. Now, in reference to a kidnapping situation, you say, oh, they got kidnapped from point A and he ended up at point B somewhere else. Then you'll say, well, how come he hasn't been able to go back home? Because they thought they'd call him crazy and weird. Then they thought they'd make up drugs. Then they thought they'd make up racism. Then they thought they'd make up calling him gay. Not gay, not racist. Not nothing to do with the president's problems. I'm the owner of what I'm the owner of, and they're not. Don't do drugs. I've never done drugs in my entire life, not even one time. These people thought they'd make up shit. They thought they'd make up excuses. Then they say they thought you threatened the president. Don't even know him, don't even talk to him, not friends with him. You know, priorities of my mother and father and family history and companies and business is where things are at. In reference to who I am, my mother and father's companies and estates are protected by the laws of Eliot Ness. I'm supposed to be protected by the laws of Eliot Ness and performing arts and history of the entertainment industry. And other statuses, of course. But these people are trying to violate all those, pretending like they didn't know nothing about them. The statuses that I was born with. And these people thought if they just made up lies, they thought they could just tell their lies to get away with things. Ask them time and dates on everything. And their setups. Where they tried to fake shit to try to blame me for something. Always analyze everything these government people say when they try to make accusations against me. I don't hang out with them. I'm not friends with them. I don't associate with them. I'm not gay. Can't date nobody in their race. Wouldn't date none of these men. I don't date men. I date females. So in reference to these government men and their tricks and their manipulations, they have to get prosecuted whoever they are. And you'll find out that some of these people are people my parents had court cases against, or my mother had court cases against these people. which the Supreme Court and the Treasury have to be on my side because I'm the rightful owner, based on factual law. And all these people have tried to slander my character by manipulating and abusing me. Alexa, what's today's date?
Today is Tuesday, July 18th.
Alexa, what time is it?
It's 6:49 a.m.
And in reference to the government men and their tricks,
Here you go.
Well, the activity of these government men is criminal. It's a
Here are some
violation.
results.
Everything they're doing is criminal. And they're in violation of wealth protection laws, identity protection laws, property laws, laws of Elliott Ness, entertainment laws, business laws, Screen Actors Union laws, modeling laws, and a lot of other laws, and corporate law, corporate and financial laws. These people disrespecting me all the time. They thought they'd get out of it by accusing me of something grandiose that they thought they'd get away with making up, as they were trying to cover up that their politicians or government men had tried to rape me. They tried to steal my penis. They tried to steal my sperm. They tried to steal my hermaphrodite genetics. These government people need to get prosecuted. Seems like the Treasury or the Supreme Court's dragging their feet on the subject, doesn't it? I have not received any compensation, not even from the first lawsuits of the day they kidnapped me from my mother and father's mansions. You know that? Not received any benefits from any of the abuses either. They thought they'd make up shit like, oh, they thought you threatened the president. When was this? Because they've been attacking me since I was little. Oh, you thought you'd just make it up. You called somebody a racist. I've had girlfriends of different ethnicities. Time and date of all your accusations, and location of where you claim these accusations came from. Like you thought, what location was you looking at? Need a log of all the days that you said you and your agents weren't burning on me with satellites, because you've been doing it every day for over 23 years. And 22 plus years. No, around 22 plus years in Indianapolis. Plus they were burning me in California too. Where's the lawsuit money, California? Still being held hostage. And hello, other cities and states that are aware of the abuses. Haven't received any letters in reference to any of my mother or father's property. This is a hostage situation, you know. And it's a violation of American law. No matter what race these people are. I'm the rightful owner of my mother and father's estates. These people don't have a right slandering my character, playing their tricks, trying to steal everything. Nothing's for sale. I'm the owner of everything of my mother and father's estates forever. No, I didn't receive the ballet scholarships if anybody sent anything in the postal mail. Or any of the other scholarships from any universities. Didn't receive nothing. The people that are on the hate club list. See, the person stealing the postal mail has to be on the hate club list. Even if they're in government, even if they're in law enforcement. And any of the presidents that accused me of anything, their names go on the hate club list too. And they have to be banned from all my mother and father's businesses and properties. Forever. Forever. Have a good night, or a good day. And hello in reference to the performing arts and media and sports and music and bookstores. How y'all doing? In reference to lots of other, fun or exciting or friendly acknowledgments. And hello in reference to Congress. I don't know if you tried to send anything. I didn't receive anything either. And these government people are still playing their tricks of abuse. Well, there are all protocols in the media 24 hours a day, and they even got copies of that at the White House too, don't they? and all branches of government have copies of it. So, in reference to people saying they didn't know who I am, where's that press release or the press conference they were supposed to have in reference to who I am and who my parents are? That document is time and dated from when the Treasury got that document, right? A long time ago. Now, they were supposed to do a public announcement of who I am. But I guess the Nazis or whoever's conspiring against me thought they owned, or if they thought they'd get away with stealing TV stations and radio stations that I'm the owner of. Those people have to be ordered into court. In the low performing arts, in universities, in ballet schools or ballet performances, and Low Radio City Music Hall and Broadway and film industries, music industries, art galleries. How y'all doing? Museums, how you doing? Hello, Smithsonian, Getty Museum, Metropolitan Museum, and other friendly acknowledgments of other museums. Lots of things of importance.